Well, we started home on our tour of Texas and made it to Henderson, and we saw somebody that looked familiar. So we decided we would pull over and have a chat. Hey, I'm Blake.
And I'm Craig.
And this is your Tailgate Talk. So we are in Henderson, Texas, and I'm sitting here with my buddy, Craig Duncan, and Craig used to pastor in Morrilton. You've been here for how long now?
4 months.
4 months, and you were in Morrilton for?
16 and a half wonderful years.
16 and a half wonderful years. And then what happened?
Then the Lord said, go. Man, we started our summer last year. Everything was normal, and then everything wasn't normal. And through a long series of events and prayers, searching for God's guidance, we felt that the Lord tugging us south, and so we came down here to Texas and been spending this last 4 months getting adjusted, pastoring, loving, preaching, trying to get going.
Yeah. So you said that the Lord, told you to go, called you south. How did you discern God's voice in that? What I've called a season of change. I mean, how did you discern that?
Well, season of change is a great description because everything changed. But one of the things for us was being okay to ask questions. Maybe ask questions not with doubt in mind, but if we were gonna move and uproot our lives and uproot our kids, then we had to be completely sure that this is what God wanted. And so we had to start asking questions. Was God releasing us from a great situation? Was God asking us to move our kids from the only place that they knew, from their friends, from their activities? Was God asking us to move away from my mom and dad who had moved down and bought land next to us? Was God asking me to move into a new phase of ministry where I had a lot of things figured out in church and ministry, and so through a long series of questions, it began to force us to ask God in prayer and look to God's Word, and through all of that, the peace of God and the joy of God and all the things that come with that started to give us those confirmations.
So that all sounds it sounds so familiar, almost like I've heard it before, So you talk about peace and confirmation. I know there's a gal in our church that a lot of folks back home would know, and one of her favorite verses that she quotes a lot from Psalm 46, verse 10, talks about where we can get that peace from. And I think our human nature, our natural tendency is when we're looking for that peace and direction and confirmation is to kick into high gear of activity, to try to work harder to try to find the will of God and work harder to try to find confirmation and discernment of His will. And what His Word would say in Psalm 46:10 is to be still, to try to get into His presence and be still and know that He is God and that He'll be exalted among the nations. And I think maybe that takes a big weight off of our shoulders in knowing that, we don't have the weight of the world on our shoulders and trying to figure out what His will is, but He's going to make His will known to us,
Yeah, we found a lot of our answers in the quiet of putting the kids to bed and me and Kristen going and just having a conversation and crying and praying and doing our own personal studies, and a lot of that confidence just came from those moments of stopping.
Yeah. Well, so before we wind down, so this is, I know you're thankful for God's faithfulness in y'all's lives. You're thankful for where He's allowed you to come and serve. Henderson is beautiful, a lot more green than other parts of Texas that we've seen on this tour. I think you've said it's very Morrilton-esque.
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 It's got that old town vibe.
Yeah,
Friendly town.
It does.
A ton of pine trees.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Yeah. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us on the tailgate today. As I say every time, you never know where we're going to pull up and drop the tailgate and have a chat. I would encourage you to join us next time because I've got another friend that I want to introduce you to that I know you're going to be excited to meet. Until then, we're going to save you a seat right here on the tailgate, and I pray you have a great week. I love you. I'm Blake, and
I'm Craig.
this has been your Tailgate Talk.